Siemen Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siemen Tov. Just wanted to do a quick review of the Israel National Trail that I was lucky enough to attempt from February 15th to March 25th. I made it 551 miles out of the 628, so I have 77 left, and I look forward to finishing it sometime soon when the world's more at peace. And when I was planning the trail, I had a really hard time. I bought the Israel National Trail book, and I really didn't like the way it was formatted of trying to tell you what days to do things. And I guess you could really decipher it and find a lot more out because it's like 1B, but it was too hard for me. I was so spoiled by using gut hooks and things like that where you can just mark points and have a plan A, plan B for your hiking experience, which is something I like to do. So it was really hard to do that. So I cut out the maps in the Israel National Trail book, and you'll see that I referred to the laminated maps a lot. Good morning on day 2 of the Israel National Trail. I just have to tell you guys something. So the Israel Trail guidebook by Jacob something, it's like he tells you how many days he wants you to do it and all that, but the most valuable thing in it is the maps. So I laminated all the maps, and the maps are so valuable, like just for predominant features like this, because this section right here I just went through is kind of confusing. And so like the maps are your best friend. And like then also the Israel Trail app, which you need an Android phone for, which I got some shitty Hello Moto, is really valuable because you can mark points and see how far distances are. But the combination of the two is your best move. But I'm very thankful for the maps. These maps are totally saving me because I get to see all the changes the trail makes. Like today I'm on the black trail, and then I'm gonna go to the blue trail, and then back to the black trail, then back to the green trail. So it's always changing what trails you're on, but they do a good job of marking it. I was so thankful for the maps. Like I used it a lot of the time and would just check the GPS in case I was like definitely not sure where I was. And I downloaded it on the All Trails app as well as the Israel National Trail app, because sometimes the Israel National Trail app satellite wasn't quite right, especially with campsites. Pretty bummed on the people who made this fucking app. There's no campsite here. And if I could read Hebrew, maybe I could understand. That looks like something, but it's wet. And we're just trying to get out safe. Boker Tov, good morning. So, I've learned that on this trail, like if you see the campsite far away and you're hiking into the night, which I did, like I got here at like right at like dark. And I got held up by, you know, the military for like a little bit. So I guess you need approval to walk through this part, but they're being very nice and they just don't want me to get shot. Fucking sketchy. Crazy. Bye, have a great day, Yom Tov. But yeah, so I walked up this road. It was like probably 1.5 kilometers, whatever that is. Fucking to try to find the campsite, couldn't find it. Was like frantically looking all over in those mountains, all fucking nuts. Went back down the road, came over here. I'm like, in general, the thing I'm most scared of is people, so I got in here. My tent blew over in the middle of the night, so I had to get more rocks because it's really loose ground. So it was like one of those nights, you know, and it's just, you only can laugh at it. But like, yeah, I know to be super careful about where I camp around here, because it's not well marked and it's not like a campground. It's like a one little fucking spot in the middle of whatever. So this is night 2 of like searching for fucking campsites. Yeah, so you had to be careful of when and when not to trust the GPS. Slept over there last night. So happy the GPS was right about that one. So this is a junction where the red trail is, but you don't see anything this way. It looks like you'd go up this road, but it's really hard to tell. I can see the road on this map. That isn't the case. So I'm not quite sure what to do. But it was always fun because it was like a puzzle. You'd use your maps and your GPS and you'd figure out where you were. I know that sounds so new age, not compass. We're talking iPhones and maps. But yeah, I'd always keep my maps in my pocket, and those were such a help to me. And I had the Android phone. And the way you use the Israeli National Trail app is you'd pinpoint one spot to the next, write it down, and that's how you'd have to measure. And then you get the metric calculator to see kilometers to miles. And so that's how I planned it. There was a time period when I was trying to paste the whole section of maps that I cut out, but I'm really happy I laminated those maps. That was a really smart move. So second of all, you have to decide if you want to hike north or south. I feel like the Israel National Trail is one of the few hikes you could start in February and really like watch spring happen. And it was so cool to have like a false summer in the desert. And I was so lucky to have a lot of shade and some rainy days. But I can imagine doing the desert section in later months would be really difficult. You're so exposed. So I was really happy with my choice to go northbound. And I can't talk highly enough about how beautiful the Israel National Trail is. It's such diverse terrain. The desert is definitely the most challenging section of trail I've ever hiked, mostly because of the water. I actually had to turn around. I had a false start because I didn't respect where I was, and I got a little lost. Holy moly. Guess what? Already went the wrong way once. And now I know the trail's marked pretty darn good. Holy shit, dude. And the water thing is sketchy. I was super anxious to start the trail, and I was like, went to Jordan this morning, all those things, and I carried enough water that I could fill this up one more time, but like, I'm going only a little bit further, maybe like 3 miles or less, and that's just shit sketchy. So I'm gonna turn around and start again tomorrow and bring like all the water. Okay, it's like 6:30 in the morning. I'm about to do my second day of a trail attempt on the Israel National Trail. I've learned a lot. I learned that the trail's well marked. Even though you see like a side trail with the same markings, just wait until you see the good old white, blue, and orange. Also, I am not sleeping on how much water to bring. I messaged this guy in Yehoram, but he wrote me in Hebrew. We got 4 liters right here. We got 2 liters right here, and 1.5 right here. I got 30 miles till I get to Tima Park, where there's water restocking, so I'm hoping this is enough. And like yesterday I was like sipping water and like taking it all in so much and being like really cautious, and this is definitely the most challenging section of trail I've ever done because of the water thing. It's no joke. So I hiked the next day, really respecting where I was. I drink a lot of water. I drink like 6 liters a day, especially in the desert. I just am a heavy drinker. Some people, I learned later on, don't drink as much water as me, so I'd carry like 7 liters, 8 liters sometimes. I'll show a video of what I used to carry water. And yeah, I was always super careful with water. I didn't ever run out. I was doing pretty good. But there was times where I thought there was going to be water somewhere and there was a reroute. And I was lucky to run into like a campsite because you're in the desert and in the off season and there's a lot of people. Just got so lucky. You're not allowed in this town anymore, Sharut. Just letting you know, the map doesn't say it, Nothing says I was planning on getting water there. And it says it's going to redirect you to some water place, Yahitro. But this nice school group just fucking hooked me up tough. I ran into a few situations in the desert where I was getting a little lucky.
Instalemi, next to the place I put the water, so you see a big rock from the right, and then you go through him, and then go down, and there is 6 liters of water. Enjoy.
You're a fucking angel, dude. Really appreciate it. About to hit some rain. But I think I'm safe. Thank you. So I decided to do the water drops. Well, hot damn. Yoo-hoo! Woo! Got us some water. Happy to pay for it when shit like this happens. That's beautiful. That is a beautiful sight. Gotta carry water for 35 miles. Probably my biggest carry before, I think it's my last big carry. Maybe not, but one of my last big carries. So after a rod, it gets nice. And this is the section to a rod. So drink up, chill. So I had this guy, Chaim Berger. I'll post his number. After Anya Hav, I paid this guy, Chaim Berger. I'll list his number. And he is the man and leaves water places. It's just so much easier traveling with the water drop-offs. I kind of feel like a bitch for doing that, but like there was like a lot of things that were like, maybe you'll get this, and if you're lucky, and I'm like, fuck all that. So now I got water drops. This is my 3rd time getting water, and now I just have to get the lock right. Stoked. Yeah, we're in that gold mine, in that water restock. Thank you, Chaim Berger. Mime. Mime. I'm only 10 miles to the next one, so this is a quick little skadoot skadoot. And he'd hide water places, and I'd unlock it, which was super cool. And yeah, it felt so good. You could make more miles. You didn't have to worry about carrying as much. It was a real savior. And there were some times where I carried so much water and realized there was another outlet for water that I didn't know about. And yeah, that's the thing about those maps. It's really small to see. So it's really hard to, you have to really know the legend and know where you think there'd be water in those areas. One place there is water I didn't know about was the I.N.T factory, and that was a huge come up, but I carried a lot of water from Midrash at Ben Gurion to I.N.T factory, and that was a long trek with a lot of water on some crazy terrain. So if you're gonna hike it, no, the I.N.T factory has water. And seems like Tapa Talk and some of the blogs might have been a better move for me. If I would have done it again, I would have looked that up more. It seems like there was a lot of information on it, but I was happy to just use my maps and like water contacts and things like that. So water on the trail, don't bring a water purifier. You don't need it. That's one thing I really missed hiking the Israeli National Trail as opposed to the Appalachian Trail was I didn't have to use a water purifier. There was no like streams to come across to get water, and if it was a stream, it was like questionable. So yeah, some of them questionable, but there was some natural springs you can drink water from that people swim in. That was really, really cool. And yeah, so water on the trail, I'd recommend getting the water drops if you want to lighten your load and not be as heavy. But also using plastic bottles is horrible, so that's a huge reason not to. And so that was upsetting that, you know, I had to take a plastic bottle and use that. Once you get past the desert, the water is pretty plentiful, so you can manage. There's towns, there's water fountains. This marks the first time, besides getting water drop off from Trail Angels, that there's like a water source. So this is a very special moment. I'm gonna drink some of this water, and I'm going to refill up. I probably don't even need to is the fucking crazy part. But I got some water last night from the Forester hut. I was thankful for that. And I carried enough for today. And I'm still doing good because it was rainy and stuff, but I'm gonna chug a lug. The Israel Trail is pretty well marked, and usually there's two trails that are going with each other, and the Israel Trail is part of it, which is really nice, which I thought I didn't like at first, but I learned to love that because you would know for sure where you were. And sometimes things aren't as updated and you got to figure it out, but like the colors changed a few times, but you were able to figure it out. So it was a real adventure on the trail, figuring out what to trust and not to trust. Here's one of those times where the trail is really difficult. Shows you take a left to go up here, meaning that the trail could come from this way, the rest of it. But it also shows it from right here. And right there. So, I look at my maps and I see that it's blue trail all the way. I look at the satellite, I see where I am, I zoom in, and I see that it's gonna squiggle up. So I'm gonna take the harder route and hopefully I'm right, or else I went uphill for no reason. So it was a both, so that could get super confusing. So it's nice to have your maps on you, and I got a water drop at the next place and it's like 7 miles and I'm rationing for that, so I couldn't take the risk of going wherever that one went without knowing on the maps. So sometimes the Israel Trail's tricky and you gotta be smart. We're always problem solving. Another Israel National Trail tip. So like that kind of looks like it's this way, so someone might question it, but then you see that and that's great. But a great tip is always look back at it. Look back at it. Oh, there she is. No, I'm going the right way. Look back at it. See a mark. That's a good sign. That means we're going the right way. But the changing color thing didn't happen that much, but I was always checking and always looking back so I could figure out where I was, and I was so careful about that. And I never went too long the wrong direction, but it became a fun game of Where's Waldo to find the trail marker, especially in the spring when things were starting to grow. When it's been a while since you've seen the trail marker and you're like, there you are, my good old friend. It's a great feeling. See another one in the distance. Cheer, Waldo. A very, very tough Where's Waldo. Who would have thought it? Where I look on the phone, I always like to play Where's Waldo. And I think this is Waldo right here. This rusted out guy right here. Or else he would have kept going straight. And it's marked pretty well right there. So we'll find out. Since that Waldo move was not finite, yep, looks like we got off the trail. Okay, there was no crazy bend. It was straight. So I gotta hop that other fence. Oh well, it was fun hopping an electric fence for a second. I have a mark right there, and then I turned around and I saw this is the turn, this is that, because I went the wrong way. I kept going this way. But it would be really hard to see this and the trail in the distance where I go. And then I see another Where's Waldo over there. I've come to the conclusion that this is the trail. Came down from there. I know I need to go past there. So we're fucking roughing it. Oh, sketch. But I see that down there. Trail. I hiking the Israel Trail was so fun, and I loved all the elements of getting around water and getting to the trail and figuring out ways to cross rivers and stuff, because I had a kind of rainier season. Might have made the wrong water crossing choice over there. Went through that stuff and it was deep. Hopefully didn't get my pack wet, but definitely got mid-torso. And all these cars are having trouble crossing this deep spot. Oh man, I had to pull myself up by some branches. I was kind of stuck. Good thing I just watched The Revenant. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. Looks like we got ourselves a tricky one right here. I have to say that, you know, when you're hiking a trail, you want to compare it to something else in the past, or the East Coast or the West Coast, but Israel's so unique, and there's so much amazing floral flowers, prachim in Hebrew. It's gorgeous flowers, and the desert is extraordinary, like so much fun ladders and bridges and water crossings, and I feel so lucky to have hiked the Israel National Trail, most of it, and yeah, it was so cool to meet amazing people. Everyone's hyped on what you're doing. Everyone's so friendly and nice, and I really enjoyed being around the Israeli culture, and I really loved how different every day was, and I was always trying to compare things, but it's just its own unique place. And I'm so happy I finished at the Sea of Galilee, and I'm excited to continue the trail and finish in Dawn. And I was lucky enough to start in Eilat, where there's so much fish, and I was just in such a special part of the planet, historically and geographically, that it's connecting 3 continents: Africa, Asia, Europe. So I highly recommend hiking the trail. I'm probably missing some things I should talk about, so you guys can totally message me. And Schvil Yisrael. What I forgot to mention was hiking during the pandemic. I experienced so many miracles hiking from Netanya up to the Jordan River, where I would finish my hike, because Israel had a law in place saying that you're only allowed 100 meters from your home. I also experienced some other odd things that night, you'll see. I dealt with a little bit of uncertainty with not having a rain jacket, not knowing where laundry was, not knowing where I was going to stay, and it was kind of fun, but it was a weird feeling hiking during a global pandemic. But it was also like, wow, I'm lucky, but it's like the state of the world is not where I want it to be. So this next section is me hiking during the pandemic, and I'm hoping that coronavirus blows over sometime soon, and I'm wishing the world a lot of health, and I'm hoping to finish the trail this April or May. It is March 19th, and the coronavirus is really insane right now. I know I shouldn't be itching my nose, but the coronavirus is really crazy in a lot of countries. My heart goes out to Italy and US and China and everywhere. It's fucking crazy, and I'm really bummed on it, and I'm sure a lot of people are. And Israel released this statement. They've been really on top of it, Israel, because they canceled everything, restaurants, all that. Everyone started to go to the beach and outside, so they said only 10 minutes allowed outside. I took a day off yesterday. I thought about it, maybe like quarantining myself, but I got cousins at my house. They got a mom who's vulnerable, and it seems like the best thing for me is to go with the US model of social distancing and go on the trail. So that's what I'm doing. And also things are just getting crazier every day, so I just needed to go. I didn't go, I took a day off because it was super windy, and also I was thinking about not hiking anymore. I totally respect that this is way bigger than this adventure, and yeah, it was a tough decision. Obviously I wanted to hike more than stay at home, but it seemed like me being in the elevator, me being in the apartment, me having to go for food, it's a better move, I think, to do the hike. We'll see how bad this corona really is. It's super fucking bad, no doubt, but maybe it'll blow over in 2 weeks. Probably not. It's beautiful, it's great, but it's like kind of hard to enjoy yourself when you know your friends and the world is suffering. So trying to keep my head up, but and it's easy for me too, but with this greatness. But yeah, my heart's really fucking out there for everyone. It would be super nice if I would have got a rain jacket, but the coronavirus closed all the stores, and I wasn't like gunning for it to get to the rain jacket. But I got this thing, it's not doing much, and you always eventually dry off, so I think I just am gonna ride this puffy like a rain jacket for a while. But gotta think of a better solution. I only have 200 miles left, but yeah, I hope that I don't have to keep riding out rainstorms in the puffy. We'll see. And people don't want you to stay at their house, so the trail angel thing is a little difficult. But yeah, 200 miles, like, I'm gonna survive. Oh, wow, is the world amazing. I got lost. I stumbled upon a factory, weatherproof. Met this really nice lady. I was like, you don't happen to have any rain jackets for sale? And she was like, what size are you? Comes out, gives me this fucking jacket for free. And like, everything I've ever wished for on the trail just comes true. So I need to give wish for some really awesome things. Wish for coronavirus to end. Can't even buy a jacket right now. Everything's closed, so I was really, really lucky. And it's about to rain a lot the next few days, and I'm gonna keep pushing it in Old Faithful blue. Beautiful, man. What a trail, what a hike. So diverse. Every day is like a whole new world. A whole new world. Geshem is the word for rain. Geshem, rain. Geshem Hazak, strong rain. Geshem Hazak Katzat. Rain strong a little, I think is what I said in broken Hebrew. I don't want your babies. Oh my gosh, look at him. He's so cute. Fuck. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. Fuck, dude. That was gnarly. We'll see how that plays out. I was gonna sleep in a shed in someone's yard that I found, like a stray cat, and these guys took me in. We're I tried to sleep last night before I got rescued by Omer and Yuki. Oh my gosh, what a different world that was. Now I'm chilling in different shoes, not wet. Wow. This is a real deal cave. So sick. Really feeling like the universal love right now that I got to stay at that lovely couple's house. They're so amazing. Yael and Omer and Yuki. They were so special. And yeah, I'm back on the trail. I was gonna sleep in that shed, and I'm like, I went in that water that day that was super deep, and I wasn't sure if my sleeping bag was gonna be wet. It wasn't, thankfully. And you know, they took me in, and like, yeah, you could say maybe I was acting irresponsibly, but I was hustling in the rain, and I got more rain than I expected, and I would have been okay. It would have worked out if in an alternate universe. But what happened was I was the luckiest person ever, and they took me in, and feeling really blessed. Holy shit. It feels so crazy to see a white mountain in the distance. Mount Hermon. Amazing. You gotta count your blessings. The fact that there was a supermarket right on the trail for me to restock, amongst a bunch of other things. Like, the blessings are high to get water from this family over here, and they gave me a coffee and they lit a cigarette for me, like, so I smoked it. Yeah. Off to another night of not quite sure where my campsite is, but I have an okay idea, and I think I'm going to Mount Devorah. Boker Tov. Here on Mount Devorah. So the reality is right now that I have 5 days to finish. It's gonna rain. Not too bad. It's looking like I'm gonna play it out. Finding laundry, tough. Finding people to stay with, tougher. Also because it's like me making it my own rules. You know, no one's supposed to stay with people. I am still gonna call the Trail Angels and ask nicely, but say like I completely understand if not, and if they're not super receptive to it, then forget it. But I'm okay with not doing laundry for 5 days, I think. Finding places to charge my phone and things like that is the task at hand. But it's only 5 days. I'm at 103 miles to the finish, so yeah, 5-6 days. Stoked. Wouldn't rather be anywhere else in the world right now than walking into the Sea of Galilee on this beautiful Israel National Trail. Kol hakavod. Less than 100 miles left. I bet I'm in the 80 range right now. But wow, has it been wonderful. And then I gotta figure out how to get to Mount Hermon. And I've been eating a lot of food, so I'm gonna see if I'm gonna restock in Tiberias. And I probably will. And if so, check the weather and see what's up with possible sheltering. If not, I'm going to ride it out in my tent, which is fine. And that is the Corona thing to do. But if someone has like an outdoor zone or something, it's worth asking. So the Israel National Trail is on hold. I came back here 3 days ago, and I was at this river rafting place called Rob Roy. And at Rob Roy, it said it was a campsite on Mapout, which I've been using since I got that iPhone and I didn't have the Israel National Trail app. And so I snuck into this place, Rob Roy, and I got behind, like, they had a teepee there, and I wanted to sleep in the teepee, but it was a weird angle. So I went and I slept next to a shed, and it had a slab of concrete like this, and I'm like eating my food, hanging out, and I'm putting my stuff away, and I hear these dogs bark across the river, and I'm hearing them bark, 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 and I'm like already a little scared because I'm like kind of breaking in. And I night hiked into that it was a 2 mile night hike, my first one of the trip. And it wasn't bad because it was roads, and I was thinking about sleeping on the road, but I've seen these back road drivers around here, and that's probably a decent way to get killed. But yeah, so I went and I saw Rob Roy. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that and get a head start before this rainstorm that's about to come in a few days. So I took the 2 mile night hike. It was fine, and I had water. I got gifted water again by like a house nearby. I just asked, and they gave me water. It was really cool. And so when I went to Rob Roy, those dogs heard me across the river. Then there was a dog at the campsite. It didn't hear me, but it was sounding kind of close, and it sounded like a pretty vicious bark. And like I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I turned my phone on and the Wi-Fi for a second, and I hear that Israel's on 100 meters away from your house. No walking, no driving with more than two people, and had the dog situation, and I was like looked up, saw that I was close to the road, and I'm like just gonna take a taxi. So I packed all my stuff up super unorganized. I was like in bed ready to go to sleep. And then like I'm putting all my stuff away, and I know I'm gonna have to confront that dog. And so when I put all my stuff away, I did have to confront that dog. And I was like was carrying like my sleeping mat, I think, and yeah, and so he's like barking at me, like want to get me real good. Like he came pretty close proximity. But I know to keep a hand out in front of you and just keep them from that distance of the snap. And then I got to the road, and then I'm like putting my stuff back, like right there. I thought he would like only fuck with me for a bit, but he came out to the road, not too close that time. And then I packed all my shit up, came here at night, and now I'm quarantining, hanging out, and listening to some Joan Baez and doing my taxes. And the trail's on pause. I did 551 miles. I have 77 left, and I think I'm gonna come back next year and do the last 77 and be able to meet more people, be able to stay at Trail Angels houses, and yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing the trail, and I miss the trail, and it's been so amazing. It's been such a fucking blessed country. People are so awesome. The trail is so diverse. Yeah, and my last day was a really special day, climbing Mount Tabor and then seeing a view of the Sea of Galilee. And my brother was supposed to join me for the last bit, and now I save it so he can join me for the last little bit. And yeah, I love the Israel National Trail, and I'd recommend hiking it definitely. And I'll do a review on the hike and my planning and all of that. And yeah, I look forward to making a few videos about my hike. Thanks for watching. Much love. Happy trails. There's only 3 days of the week right now. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I don't know how long I've been quarantining, but I'm so happy to be here in Netanya with nice weather.